this is where I kind of really nerd out because I love just seeing like how it looks like a storage building and now it's all of a sudden a house. That the transformation just is, oh, it gets me every time. Um, but no, it's for if you buy a shell, if you can get a decent deal on a shell, you're spending about 10 grand and then putting, the inside, all of it yourself. And that's cabinets, that's flooring, that's sheetrock, that's tape bed texture, that's plumbing, that's throwing up walls, that's putting in AC, that's putting in, porch. We go all out.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest is an agent and investor based in West Texas, focusing on single-family and multifamily properties. She's also involved in a tiny home community project as an investor and runs a property management company as well. Please welcome Hillary Stevens. Hillary, welcome to the show.
Hi, happy to be here.
I'm grateful to have you on here, Hillary. You're involved in so much in the real estate space, but how did you get involved initially? What got you started in real estate?
Well, about 2014, 2015, there was a big bust going on in West Texas. So employment was scarce. I actually started working at a tanning salon and ran into an old friend of mine that was in the property management sector in apartments here. And that $4 raise looked really nice. So I hopped on over there and just kind of climbed up the corporate ladder. It was a very corporate company out of New York. So I've done the small town real estate all the way up to the very corporate real estate. So
As someone who got in really on the ground floor, did you know that you were going to be an investor? Did you have uh, an idea that in the future I'm going to be an investor myself, or was this kind of a progressive journey for you?
I guess it may be a little bit of both. I knew that it wasn't the end. I knew that unlocking apartment doors and, showing an apartment, leasing it for $50 a door wasn't where I wanted to end up. So I knew that there was going to be more ahead for me.
Walk me into getting into real estate investing or being an agent, and which one came first? Was it the investor or was it the agent?
They actually kind of came hand in hand. I had so many contacts for maintenance and, make readies, painting, cleaning from my time at the apartment complexes and property management. So it's almost like it just seemed right I was doing it anyway. I was laying it out for all these guys to do. Why not do it for myself instead of this company that I worked for? So the same year that I got into real estate, we bought our first investment property.
Wow. Okay. Walk me through that. I think there's a lot of people who hear that and say, "Oh, it sounds so easy." I can say for me, the journey was not. Walk me through that first deal.
Easy is not what I would call it, but, if you're from West Texas, you may know of a little town called Big Spring. If you're not, it is a little town called Big Spring, which is right east of Midland heading to Dallas,
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
that's where we found our first property that we could afford. We bought it for $15,000, and you stepped in the door and your foot went through the floor and onto the ground right underneath it.
That's
So
how it is.
that's only your finest real estate in Big Spring, Texas. And when I say that we did that all ourselves, I mean everything, to putting the subflooring down, to laying the flooring, to pulling out all the cabinets, replacing all the windows, double laying the shingles on top, all ourselves. We didn't have any money or any help. Thank God for my husband's dad that does this for a living, that came and kind of helped us out of the goodness of his heart. But that was our
Yeah.
first rental property, and it's been getting 2% since 2020. So
Coming in clutch with the family connections in the business there. Did you think at
gotta
that
use
point
what
in
you
time
have.
this is a repeatable process? We did effectively our first flip. Let's do a bunch more of these. What was the thought process like after finishing that first deal?
Well, after finishing that first one, we looked across the street and saw that the house across the street had caught on fire, and we were like, "Yeah, you're next, buddy. We're gonna buy the whole block."
So you bought a second one shortly thereafter. At this
Yep.
point in time, you're now a flipper, you're a property manager, and you're a real estate agent. Were you thinking I'm going to scale all of these different verticals, or were you thinking, let me really dig my heels into flipping, for instance?
I don't know that that was a choice in my head at all. I was just, like, seeing the green lights, and I just kept going. Like, "Okay, there's more, there's more, there's more," and then, that was right about the time the interest rates tanked, which was great for people like us that were trying to pick up properties. So,
Right.
we ended up picking up the house that we're in now, and it's on the edge of the country, which is where the magic kind of all happened. We moved out here permanently. Then we started our first Airbnb, which was the first tiny home where it all began, and ran that for a year and figured out how well it was going to do. And then that's when we were like, we've got to make more of these. We've got 4 acres back here. Why don't we just, and that's, kind of how it all started.
So these were ground up construction, smaller size homes.
If you wanna call it that. So, around here, the living situation, people coming in to work in the oil field get a little bit tricky, and you have to get a little bit creative. So, this tiny house, like, it's right behind me in the window right now. It used to be just a storage building,
Yeah.
12 by 40, that somebody had already put a bathroom in and put some cabinets in for a kitchen. They were living in it while their house was being built. So we bought that one pretty much furnished. And then that's what got us the idea for the simple, small, kind of modular situation that then from the inside we could make our own.
I'm a big fan of modular. I want to get a little bit granular, Hillary, maybe give away some of the gold, but not all of the gold here. When we're talking about these tiny home builds, West Texas, how much is it costing to put up a tiny home? And I'm imagining in some of these situations you mentioned modular, it's not like an on-site ground up construction. You may have, I've seen ADUs that really look like, sheds get transformed into livable situations. But then modular is a whole other beautiful space where you've got, off-site stick-built modular homes that are really higher quality even than an on-site construction. So what's the general scope of work and how much would one of these cost an investor out there?
Uh,
If you're looking for consistent, high quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
this is where I kind of really nerd out because I love just seeing like how it looks like a storage building, and now it's all of a sudden a house. That the transformation just is, oh, it gets me every time. Um, but no, it's for if you buy a shell, if you can get a decent deal on a shell, you're spending about 10 grand and then putting, the inside, all of it yourself. And that's cabinets, that's flooring, that's sheetrock, that's tape bed texture, that's plumbing, that's throwing up walls, that's putting in AC, that's putting in, porch. We go all out. We cement the whole thing. We add a porch and a patio and a hot tub because why not? So if you buy one, they used to be a lot cheaper. If you get one pretty much already done, you could spend about 25, but completely redone, you're looking at about 40.
I want
Turnkey.
to ask you about the exit strategies for these. So I'm imagining you can do a couple things with them. You can rent them out. I'm imagining they'll actually get pretty high rents considering all things considered. You mentioned also the oil field community, correct? Which is out there. So you have the potential to rent them out. You also have the ability to turn them into Airbnbs, short-term housing, which is incredible, right? And then you also have the ability to effectively build and flip them or build and sell them. Do you have one preferred strategy at the moment right now?
So for now, they're going to stay where they are and get rented, whether it be short-term rentals or long-term furnished rentals. There's several industries in West Texas besides oil field where people need housing out here. We see a lot of traveling nurses.
Yeah.
We see a lot of, the volunteer firefighters that come in from out of town and they live in their, RV, or they have a home with a whole family in another town that they just have to come and stay for a few days at a time. And so they'll rent consistently so nobody is in their space when they're gone. But then we also have, people that want staycations and something cool to do that's nearby that they don't have to leave their kids 2 hours away. So a little bit of everybody.
It's an interesting niche to be in, which brings me to this new project that you're involved in, a tiny home community, really, of these homes. Uh, Walk me through this. This is pretty novel. How'd you get involved in this space?
So actually, I sort of peeled off the idea from people that were smarter than me. But I was driving down, we had a ton of construction around my house the last couple of years, and I took this segue down this weird country road. I had no idea where I was, and I've lived here my whole life. And I saw this little like batch of just houses, little tiny houses, container houses. They were all different, but they all just like meshed together. And I was like, what is that? So I did some more research, and the city actually put it in to rehab the homeless. So they don't stay there for free, but you have to have a driver's license and willful employment, and they'll come pick you up and take you to your job and whatnot. You pay $300 a month, and I was like, that is cool.
Yeah.
'Cause it was somebody else's property. They have little animals in there, donkeys running around, little alpacas. It was just all of it was cool. And so I was like, "I've gotta do something like that." And then that's kind of when the Alice in Wonderland thing popped into my head. We're like, "In this store, you could be at the beach. In this store, you could be," you know? So I was like, "I have to do that. I have to."
So you then had, I'm imagining, you have to find some land for this deal.
Luckily, we already had another spare 2 acres at the back of our property that just hadn't been getting used, so
What's the process of that like? So you have the spare land. Do you have to rezone it? Is there a maximum number of parcels that can be broken up? Do you even need to go in that deep? What's the process like of putting tiny homes on existing land?
So we get to skip through a lot of the red tape being out in the county, but normally, yes, in the city, you would have to make sure that you're in line with your deed restrictions if it's zoned for that kind of, multifamily situation. But we kind of got lucky out here. We've got 4 unrestricted acres that we can pretty much do anything with. So
So the real ticket to success out there is to buy land in the county.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
It'll do it. It definitely saves you a lot of time and paperwork.
Do you know, I'm a Texas agent as well. Do you know if in other areas throughout Texas, you're in West Texas, but if you buy land in the county, not the city, if similar rules may apply? For instance, if you're in, the greater San Antonio area outside, or let's call it outside of Austin, and you've got a vacant land, same thing with DFW, will these similar rules apply?
And they could, that's when you need to find a good agent whenever you do your title work. If you're buying the land, then you need to really pay close attention to your deed restrictions, and if there's any other restrictions that they've put on that land as far as zoning, that's important before you sign on the dotted line.
That's a critical thing to look into. I also think that it's worth noting that not every agent is going to be knowledgeable on this. Hey, I'm looking at putting tiny homes on this vacant land. I want to make sure that I can put a bunch on there and it's not going to be a bunch of extra work. It's why it's important to work with, investor agents. I want to pivot to that element of it. You're an investor agent yourself, and you're also active as both, really, both as an agent and as an investor, and then also involved in property management. When you have other investors coming to you asking about deals, your experience must color a lot of the feedback that you're able to give them versus someone who's not personally active themselves.
Oh, certainly. And I've got a lot of good insight because I've done it myself. And I feel like that's really important whenever you're looking for guidance for somebody in an area that you're not 100% sure in. I hope that you seek the help of somebody that does have plenty of experience in the industry that you're trying to flourish in.
You mentioned, and let me know if we can discuss, you mentioned a deal with a popular restaurant chain out there in West Texas. Can we talk about that deal?
The restaurant, oh, are you talking about my metal building guy?
You mentioned, can I say it? The fast food chain,
Oh, okay.
the
Yeah.
Wendy's deal, yeah?
Oh, yes, of course.
I didn't know if I could mention it. I didn't know if I could mention it. It's very interesting because they bought the land as well, which I've heard many different strategies involved, but they actually bought the land because in Texas you potentially want to have the mineral rights as well.
Sure. And That's not exactly everywhere in Texas, in the Permian Basin specifically. You're so close to the oil and the directional drilling. You could be in the middle of town and they still be drilling under your property. So, yeah, there's several areas in Texas where they still continue to lease the land. It's profitable for their area. Places like Sweetwater, San Angelo, places with
Yeah.
lakes that build properties. I mean, but no, in Midland, you want to buy the land.
You could be sitting on some oil. I want to ask you about the investing strategies that you see most commonly out there. I think, not being in one of the four major metros, you probably see, I would imagine, more land deals than you might see in some other areas. Are you seeing a lot
Sure.
of people who are looking at, storage facilities, RV parks, industrial? You mentioned, and we're talking about this deal where Wendy's bought the land beneath it. Is there one type of investing strategy that you see more popular out there?
Definitely. So there still is a ton of land. They're building all over the place. I've lived in Midland, Odessa since I was born and raised here, so I've seen it grow from a little bitty tiny town, and remember when I was young that they were telling us that we were the next Dallas Fort Worth, and I was like, okay. But truly, Midland and Odessa has grown together like crazy, and there's still so much land. It's not fruitful to farm out here in very many areas, so instead of planting crops, we drill oil. And so, what I'm seeing a lot of, especially recently with the newer subdivisions, is, they take the land, they get all the oil they can out of it. And then when they plug the wells and they're done, then they start building houses or they start building industrial parks. Right here, down the street from my office was 444 acres that they had drilled on the last 10, 12 years. And now they're finished. Now they're building a lot of, industrial parks and 7-Elevens, coffee shops, all the things that start popping up on the corners of everywhere when stuff starts commercializing,
I'm
so it's
seeing a
pretty
lot
neat.
of, I guess you would call it flex use commercial, where it looks
Sure.
like ground level will have some type of retail or uh, public facing establishment, and then the higher levels will be uh, commercial residential, and you might have even like really a layout of a small town, really. When I was living in San Antonio, there was so much of that. Uh, and it's interesting to see. I think we're seeing more and more of that across the country as people really want to be able to stick into, especially if you're renting and paying a lot of money to rent, you want to be able to stick close to where you're staying and really have all of your needs met, from groceries to restaurants to fitness to entertainment, and everything in between. Hillary, we are coming up on time here, though. Where can folks go to reach out to you, or if maybe they have a deal that they'd like your feedback on?
Awesome. Well, you can always find me at my brokerage website, www.ssrealestatebrokerage.com, on TikTok, Facebook, Hillary Stevens Broker, and then Instagram at SS Real Estate Brokerage.
Hillary, thank you so much for coming on the show here today.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.